And again, we want to welcome you into the Coach's Corner show here on WJER. Willie Grove alongside Coach Dan Ifft of the Dover Crimson Tornadoes. And Coach, after a Saturday night game like we had, I'm not even sure where to start other than you weathered the storm.
Yeah, so to speak. And what a storm it was. That second quarter was pretty brutal weather-wise. I got hit with rain sideways. You know.
Now, we traveled up to Menor. Lake Catholic was the opponent. And when you look at Lake Catholic, they put together two really strong drives. They were 72 and 80 yards, something in that neighborhood. Overall, were you pleased with the defense, and it was just a good offensive team? Well,
we were pleased with them, and we played a lot of zone coverage against them, especially in the rain, and they had a really nice big receiver. They think he's a recruitable kid. You want to be careful in those. We were in good position. A couple times we went up for it, and he went up for it, and he got it. And, we didn't come down with it a couple times. But we were never really out of position. So that was a positive to build on. Would have been nice if we squeezed them a little tighter on a couple plays to stop their drives. But when they did need a first down on those two drives you mentioned, they usually got them through going through the air. So, yeah, we're going to have to shore up a little bit that way, tighten up our zone coverage a little bit. Was a little concerned about playing a man with the height that young man had, and they had a couple other kids that could do some things. So, from a run standpoint, I don't know if they had 30 yards rushing all night. They didn't have a lot of rushing yards. So, our attitude is that we can stop the run and tackle the pass. We're probably doing, better than most, I guess.
I'm kind of changing my views. Maybe the most important part of the game is right before halftime, especially if a team has the ball to start the second half. Talk about the field goal and getting the points going into the locker room and getting the momentum.
Well, we had great leadership from Ben Ham getting us down the field and getting the clock stopped when we needed to. And I think Tyler Stevenson made a nice catch at the end of the half there to get us within field goal range. And, if you watch Lucas kick field goals in practice out here, I mean, he's hit a couple 50-yarders before. So we thought it's not out of the realm of possibility. Let's, give it a shot. And we make sure the kids up front knew that we don't want to kick six like, happened down south there a few years ago. So you got to cover the field goal. And, Lucas was extremely confident. And in the rain, to have the snap from David Denny, the hold from Tyler Stevenson, and the kick from Lucas Lane all work together in that weather was pretty impressive and really sorely needed, like you say.
And again, we're visiting with Coach Dan Ifft of the Dover Tornadoes. And Coach, go right to that final drive. Everything was against us. It was just raining. You didn't hear the music, but it was pretty deafening coming from the festival at the end of the end zone there. But I don't know if we call him the general yet or not, but Ben Ham took the team down and scored with just a few seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Ben is quite an impressive young man in a lot of respects. There's no panic in Ben. He's very intelligent. He understands the game of football. He's an athlete, plays 3 sports here at Dover. Takes a full load of tough courses, AP-type courses, and is one of the top-ranked kids in our class. So from that standpoint, Ben just looks at those things as challenges. He made one play in that drive, really. We're 3rd and 10, and things go awry a little bit off the snap. And he picks that snap up. He breaks 5 tackles. And, there's no reason why other than his effort. He breaks 5 tackles and gets us within a 4th and 2. And then the next play hits Tyler for the first down. But, if he doesn't make that play, we're probably looking at a 4th and 12, 4th and 15. And, the chances of continuing that game are not real bright. So, that was a key play in that drive. And then, obviously, at the end, you call the plays and he knows what to do. He knows where to go. He hit Sean Baumberger on a nice hook in on the 3-man side over there. We hadn't hit that all night. And, thought it was there. And, he looked the guy off and put it right on the money. Sean made a catch. Next play, he scrambles out of bounds, gets a late hit. And we're at 4-yard line with 9 seconds to go. And, we knew what play we wanted to run, call it, send it in. He executed it, and, the rest is history. But I'm so happy for the kids. We like that long, happy bus ride home. But then the next day we look at film and, things don't go so happy at times on the film. We've got to correct a lot of mistakes and some things like that. But real happy for the kids.
And, we're looking at this week. Akron East is the opponent, and I think a term that comes to my mind is contain. They've got some athletes with speed.
Right. You're going to have to be, like I told the kids last night, you don't have to be as fast as a young man you're playing, but you've got to know your strength. I've heard a coach say the one thing that, like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were great players because they knew what they weren't. And so they worked on the things they were good at, and they honed in on that. So from a defensive standpoint, we've got to do the same thing. We've got to hone in on what we're good at. We've got to hone in on proper steps, proper rush lanes, containing the run, containing the quarterback, because he's really lethal. And he runs a little, but he likes to scramble around, get you to come up, and then he finds one of his kids. And his receivers are really good football players. I mean, I think they scored most of their points in the fourth quarter against Jackson,
yes.
and I think he had 300-plus yards passing.
Yes.
It wasn't like Jackson subbed. It was a game, and I think the kid threw for 455, and I'll bet 300 of it was in the fourth quarter. So, they're one of those time bombs waiting to go off. They're going to make some yards. They're going to do some things like that. We've got to contain it. We've got to tackle them, and we've got to make them earn every yard, because they're very, very, very talented young group, and Coach Hayes does a really nice job of them. They're very well coached, and a lot of respect for them. And our program's have battled for a lot of years here, and we're going to battle again Friday night.
I'm going to ask you one final question. What did you learn about your team this past Saturday?
Well, I learned we have some leadership. I learned they're resilient. They didn't buckle. They didn't fold. Nobody was panicked. You'd think we work on 2-minute offense forever, the way our kids executed that. And you really don't. You hit it at the end of practice, so to speak, and we go usually against air to do it. But Benny spiked the ball when we needed it spiked. We got out of bounds. We needed to be out of bounds. Our protection was good, and they just executed it like, we went 80 yards in a minute 50. We had 2 timeouts, which was fortunate.
Yep.
I don't know if I used both of them. I know I used one, but nonetheless, I learned a lot about their maturity, and I think they grew a little bit. But like I said, technically, we have to get a little bit better yet.
All right. Well, we are at the end of our Coach's Corner show. Dan, I want to thank you once again for visiting with us.
Thank you.
And we'll return next week right here on your Sports Voice of the Valley.
You've been watching the Coach's Corner Show, a production of WJER Sports and Claxon Communications. The Coach's Corner Show is brought to you by your local Wendy's restaurants, Sugar Valley Meats, Williams Furniture, Floor Covering and Sleep Center, SSB Community Bank, Keim, and SmartWay Communications, your locally owned and operated internet service provider. Tune in next week for another edition of the Coach's Corner with WJER Sports Director Willie Grove and Dover football head coach Dan Ifft.